All right, what's going on, gentlemen? So, I was thinking about retention and a lot of what's going on in the modern world. So, I just got some base shit that no one else, you're not really going to find this shit on the internet, and you're definitely not going to hear a semen retention YouTuber say it. But, so I went, all right, so first of all, I had a wet dream a few days ago, and I had been trying to get to sleep earlier, and this was the day that I finally fucking got to sleep earlier. I got to sleep at like 11, and I had a wet dream at 3 in the morning. Woke up 3 in the morning, had a wet dream, and I couldn't fall back asleep. I was just awake until about 5:45, and I finally got up because the sun was coming up, and I knew it was over. I was cooked. So I got the fuck up and carried on about my day. And I talked about this before because when I lived in New York, I had a wet dream about once a week. There was twice where I had two wet dreams, where I had a wet dream 2 nights in a row. And what's going on is demons are trying to knock you off your path. So that's what's happened with me when it comes to shit like this. Like, once you guys start retaining, you're gonna notice that everything in life becomes easier. There's a whole lot less friction in your life. Things come easy to you. You'll start to get really lucky, but there's gonna be the occasional thing that happens that isn't something that's meant to just fuck up your whole world, but it's just a speed bump. And those speed bumps are meant to knock you off the path as a whole, right? So the speed bumps are gonna come to just really just knock you off the path entirely. So, like, some crazy shit happened to me last night. I got a text message that said, "Oh my God," with a bunch of G's, OMGGGGGG. "I've been wanting to suck your dick for so long, OMG." And I already know, I'm like, okay, this is some type of fucking scam or something. So I try to figure out who it is. Of course, they're not going to tell me who it is. So then I just play along like overly large, right? And this person knows my name, and they said that we met at a bar in Nashville a month ago, which I haven't been to a bar in Nashville in a month, right? I'm asking questions on purpose to see and just to know, right? So they're giving it their best guess. They know my name. They know I live either in Nashville or near Nashville, whatever it is. And so I played along, and I was like, all right, well, yeah, I'm not going to turn down some free head. Let's meet up tomorrow in Nashville, and you can suck my dick like you've been wanting to. And the person, of course, didn't respond. Or when they did respond, of course, it was a dude, said something about, like, would you let a guy do it? You wouldn't, right? And then double texted me, right? So this is some fucking gay guy that's trying to expose me for being gay. And when I was meditating this morning, I realized I think that I know who it is. I'm not sure that I've told this story, but it's coming up on 3 years. It was about 2.5 years ago. I fought a guy in Columbia, South Carolina, because I called him a faggot. He was trying to force his way into my car, quite literally trying to physically force his way in my car. And I got up out the car and was like, I was in a rental car. I got out the car, and this motherfucker had his hands up like this, showing me both his hands. I got back in the car, and his arm was in the car again. I was trying to roll the window up. So I got out and was like, dude, you're a fucking faggot. And he walked around the front of the car and swung on me, and so I beat him up in the street, right? I backed away. I kept telling him to stop. He's a lightweight. I'm more of a middleweight. And I kept telling his ass to fucking stop. Like, you're out of your weight class, and you're also sucking dick. So you're never going to kick my ass. And he wouldn't stop, and I looked to the right, and because I could see headlights, and there was a truck stopped in the middle of the road. And I'm drunk, and I'm like, okay, this is dangerous. I'm going to get hit by a car. I've now backed into the streets to get away from this guy that swung on me twice. So I just fucking hit his ass. He kept coming at me. I hit his ass again, And then I picked him up and dumped his ass on the ground. And I was done. It was like, dude, this is bullying. I don't want to fucking fight you, right? So, damn. Double damn. All right, I just launched my phone on accident. So, yeah. So I was meditating this morning, and I got the thought that it was this guy. Right? It just came to me. That's what happens when you meditate. You don't think on purpose, thoughts come to you. And I've learned over the years that that's my intuition, that's like my subconscious mind revealing things to me. And I've always had this intuition that when I'm meditating and I start thinking about someone or someone comes to my mind, they're thinking about me. And a lot of times that really does happen. I've got friends that I'm close with that I'll be thinking about them and they'll call me. And they'll be like, yeah, I was thinking about you. And I'm like, dude, I was just thinking about you too. You know what I mean? Like, you guys know, if you've got anyone you're connected with, that shit happens. And when I meditate, it just really magnifies it. So I think it was that guy. Of course, he thinks he's trolling me, but I'm trolling him the whole time. And so I texted him this morning. It was like, dude, I've been bricked up all morning and stuff and blah, blah, blah. Like, let's meet up. You didn't respond to me and stuff. Whatever, still didn't respond. So I texted again and said, nice to hear from you again, faggot. Because I think it was him. So, whatever. I don't really care who it is. If it was one of you guys, congrats. Whatever. It doesn't work. But, yeah. Speed bumps, right? Weird shit's gonna happen, and it's just gonna be strange stuff to try to throw you off, right? Because if I was some sexually deviant pervert, I would have totally jumped on board for some girl saying she's wanted to blow me for so long, right? And then I would end up like getting exposed for being gay if I was really some pervert, right? And that would destroy everything, right? It would be over for me. So, weird shit's gonna happen, but whatever. Speed bumps come, weird things happen. Don't try to fuck with me, because I'm too smart for that shit. I had this wet dream, and then I met my friend in Nashville, and he wanted to go to this steakhouse because they apparently had a deal going on. And it was Fogo de Chao, where they bring shit out to you all the time. They'll like cut the steak right on your plate. I didn't want to go because that shit was too expensive and it's not fucking worth it. But he's insisting and is like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. I blew him off the last time we were together, and this time he was like, bro, you're not going to blow me off again. We're going to Fogo de Chao. And he said he was going to pay. For me, I'm like, dude, I just want to have some drinks. I don't give a fuck about all this other shit. I'm cool with some drinks. Not thinking about how much the drinks are going to be, I'm ordering double bourbons, and the dude is hooking it up. Like, the whiskey glass, bro, is half full every single time. I'm getting a triple, quadruple bourbon, but it's $17 a shot. Not thinking about it, and this is bullet bourbon. It's bottom shelf. So, we get the checks. I said I was going to pay for the drinks. The drinks was $233, and the food was $132. And I was like, all right, bro, we got to switch, because your ass was the one that wanted to come here. I didn't want to fucking be here. So whatever, we switched. But while we're there and everything's going on, right, I'm on 3-4 hours of sleep, and I just had a wet dream. The hostess is a beautiful Latina. And Latinas are my type. I like the tan skin and the dark hair. And she's a beautiful Latina, and she keeps looking at me. She came over to our table twice. There was like a desk next to us with a drawer, and she opened that shit up and acted like she was looking around. And my friend saw it. He saw it the first time, and he knew, because I had already told him. I was like, this host just keeps looking at me, bro. She's hot. And he knew. He saw what she was doing, and I'm like, good. I'm glad that you get to see what it's like, what the reality is of how girls will behave. So she looked at me so much that it was damn near annoying. And she came over a second time, and we started conversation with her, got to talking, blah, 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 blah. There was a waitress, same thing. Her and I made eye contact. She immediately comes over and asks if we need anything. And she kind of just took over from what the other waitress was. Apparently the way they do it is they all share tips, so they'll all wait on your table. And she kind of just took over. And she was a young girl. She said she wasn't even old enough to drink. So, young girl, she was cute. My friend was into her more than I was. Now, my friend is 31. I'm 30. My friend is bald, and he's shorter than me. He's like 5'9", and he's 240 pounds. So, this waitress is like kind of hanging around the table, and I picked up what she was putting down. She was asking if she could do anything else for us, if she could get us dessert or anything. And I was like, fuck no, I'm not eating dessert. And she talked about like a dessert drink, and I was like, no, I don't want a dessert wine. Just give me another bourbon. And she was kind of like, for you, okay. For my friend, she kind of didn't want to, because he was acting real drunk. And so, whatever. She kept hanging around. She wouldn't leave. She kept hanging around. So I picked up on what she was putting down, and I was like, yeah, it's his birthday. It's his birthday. She just wanted to do some shit. So she brings out a fucking birthday cake with a candle and some ice cream. I knew what she was doing, right? And she was into me. I knew that she was. She knew, right? It's the kind of thing where we're exchanging looks, and it's like real obvious. But I liked the hostess. The hostess was hotter. So I go over, and my buddy, when we get ready to leave, or I use the bathroom, and my buddy asked for the waitress's number because he liked her. And she just straight up said no. He had a smooth line, he had a cool line, but we did ask her, how old do you think he is? And she said 42, and he's 31. So stay in shape, guys. Stay in shape. Keep your hair and stay thin so you don't look 11 years older than you are. But he asked her, I thought she was cute, although I was into the hostess more. I thought she was cute. I'd still be down to get both numbers, but since my friend asked, I didn't ask, right? I just don't do that with my boys. I'm not about to let beef come in. Like, I'll just take the L on the girl, you know? I'm not about to open up a pathway of beef for me and my friend. I've known this guy for over 10 years, right? So I'm not about to let him get rejected and then me get her number and that just open up a pathway for beef, right? So I sit down on a couch because the hostess ain't there and my boy's in the bathroom. I'm waiting on him. It wasn't even because the hostess wasn't there. It was because my boy was in the bathroom. She comes out. She comes around the corner, pops up. I start talking to her. At this point, I'm fucking drunk. I've had 4 double bourbons, and they're basically triple, quadruple bourbons, and I started drinking on an empty stomach. So I'm like, fucked. You know, I've had fucking 12 drinks in the last, like, less than 2 hours, right? I'm pounding these things, and I'm fucked at this point. Like, I need to stop drinking for a little bit. So I start talking to her, and I fumbled the bag, guys. I fumbled it big time. I asked her how old she was. She said, how old do you think I am? I said 27. I really did think she was 27, but of course, that was my big mistake, because, you know, you have to lie to girls. Even girls that aren't toxic, you gotta lie to them. You just have to lie to all girls. For some reason, they want you to lie to them. It's really stupid, but that's what they want. I said 27, and she, like, made a noise and was like, oh, and kind of, like, turned her body away from me and was like, I'm 21. I was like, oh, shit. And so she told me she had a boyfriend when I asked for her number. Whether she had a boyfriend or not, I'll never know. She did have a little ring on her finger, and she did kind of look like she might have been a couple months pregnant. You never know. She could have just been overweight. That ring, you know, girls will wear rings on that left finger for no reason. But me saying that she was 27 when she was 21 was definitely an L. Whether she had a man or not, I created the L for myself. So, you know, girls are going to want you to lie to them. And that right there. So everything that happened, this girl, my friend knew that she was into me, this hostess, right? She made it very, very obvious. So let's just assume that she did have a boyfriend the whole time. This is gonna happen when, one, when you're good looking, and two, when you're retaining. The girls are gonna use you for attention and use you for their ego, right? It's an ego stroke. So although she has a man, she's gonna act single. She was adjusting her hair. Her back was turned to the door and facing me pretty much the whole time I was there. I was sitting on the back wall where I was facing the door. Bro, this girl never had her back turned and was facing the door. She was always facing inside the restaurant, looking at me the whole damn time. She's looking at me when I'm talking to the other waitress, when I'm talking to my friend, just constant. She's looking at me. I think she didn't have a boyfriend, and me saying the 27 thing made her say, nah, I got a boyfriend. But we're going to assume that she did have a boyfriend, and she just was using me for her own ego, for her own attention. This is the kind of thing that a lot of guys nowadays get really, really pissed off about. Like, it really affects them that they gave that woman attention and energy. The thing is when you get pissed off about it, you're giving her more attention and energy. And you're telling her that you care, right? I didn't give a fuck. She told me she had a boyfriend. I said, okay, and walked out the fucking door. That's the end of it, right? A lot of guys are on the internet bitching, crying, and complaining about women, not understanding that that's exactly what the feminists do. And the feminists do that because they love men and they want men and they're desperate for men. We all know this, dude. A feminist is only complaining about men because she's not getting her back blown out once a week, right? She hasn't had a fucking orgasm in so long. She's just angry and hateful at men, right? She's sexually frustrated. That's all that's going on. She doesn't have the mental capacity to just understand, like, it's okay, I don't have to be angry because I haven't had an orgasm. I don't have to be mad. I don't have to start saying that I hate men. The truth is she loves men, and she wants to get her back blown out, right? We all know this. A liberal feminist woman wants to get her back blown out by a douchebag conservative. Come on. And so all these guys on the internet that are bitching and crying and complaining about women now are the same way. Bro, if you didn't care, if you were MGTOW and doing all this shit, you wouldn't even be talking about girls like this. You wouldn't be bitching and complaining. Y'all notice that shit? I'll get on here and talk about girls and female attraction stories and shit like that, but I don't bitch and complain about women all the fucking time. I could have blown my channel up by now by complaining about women. There's someone else who did that. I told this motherfucker to stop following his emotions, and he did, and now he's burnt out on YouTube. I saw that shit, right? I said that shit. So all you dudes that are fucking salty with girls perpetually, just indefinitely salty and crying and complaining, bro, she has harvested your attention and your energy through the internet, through social media. That's the female frame. Females want attention and energy, and men are supposed to just sit there and draw things to themselves. You don't have to peacock, right? True masculinity is not peacocking. Peacocking is the feminine frame. That's what the woman does. She's gonna put on the red dress and flip her hair to get a dude's attention. You are supposed to just walk in the room and everyone turns their head because of your presence. Your presence is powerful. Your presence is magnetic. That's the masculine frame. So you're giving all this attention. You're giving all this energy. Social media, I unfollowed pretty much every girl I went to high school with like 5 years ago. I unfollowed all of them on Instagram. Just 100%. I deleted my Snapchat. I don't even use this shit anymore. I've got profiles that I haven't posted on in years that I occasionally will get on Facebook and check in on certain people I want to check in on. And guess what? It ain't girls. Because I realized 5 years ago, I'm in submission to these women because I'm going on their Instagram profiles and looking at their bikini photos. And girls I went to high school with. And I knew, I was like, I'm in submission to these women. So you dudes that are watching, right? I got a buddy that said he likes to watch the Whatever podcast every once in a while. He's married with 4 children, same age as me. Actually, he's going to be 30 here this month in July. And he likes to watch the Whatever podcast. And I was like, bro, that's fucking strange. Why do you do that, right? It's the same thing. These women are on their OnlyFans account. They're promoting themselves. And this dude gets millions of views. And it's a whole bunch of guys that are in submission to these women. These women are acting crazy, doing the feminine thing. Red dress, flips her hair. The most outlandish things she can say or do is what she's going to say or do for clips, for attention, for energy. She is digitally harvesting your attention and energy, which is going to make her feel better, right? Women like to be looked at, even if they have a boyfriend. Guys, I've been on retention, and pregnant women that are obviously pregnant flip their hair and want my attention. It's a female, bro. You can't get mad at her for doing that shit and being that way. That's just like the same thing that girls get mad when you mind your own business. When you're focused on yourself and what you got going on and what you want to do, girls are pissed off about it. You can't be doing the same thing. So a lot of dudes, you know, they're fucking wrapped up in the internet crying and complaining about girls. You got to let that shit go, bro. If you're truly MGTOW and you truly want to blah, 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 put your attention and energy into making some money. Okay? Put your attention and energy into getting some fucking cash instead of worrying about these fucking girls and what the fuck she's doing and what the fuck she's wearing. Who cares? All right, gentlemen, like the video, comment what you think, subscribe to the channel, and have a good one.